Hey Midweeks, so glad you're joining us for this 5-part series on Christ being formed in us. There's so much in this life that's uncertain and out of our control, but one thing we could always pursue is becoming more like Jesus. And so my prayer is that through this series of talks that you're encouraged in your walk with Jesus and becoming more like him. Enjoy and God bless.
Hello, Pastor Steve.
Hi, great to be here.
So excited to have you. Now you're coming here all the way from Auckland. Can you give us
Yep.
a little background about what you do at the Auckland Church?
So I'm the principal of Equippers College. It's a Bible college. We have about 100 students who are there for a year or 2 years, and we're seeking to see them formed for life and for mission.
Awesome. And that's the series that we're in right now, is that Christ would be formed in us.
Yeah.
And, we really believe that there's a lot of things out of our control in our lives.
Yeah.
There's things we want, there's goals we have, but there's not a lot we can do to get there.
Yeah.
Christ being formed in us is something that we have some sense of control over, that we can begin to partner with the Holy Spirit to see Christ formed in us.
Yeah.
So as you were saying that you work with, the Bible school students over 2 years, what are some things that you do to help them have Christ formed in them?
Well, I think first of all this is kind of a holistic thing. So part of Equippers, we have this picture of an arrow and the idea of arrows being fired out. And so for us, it's like, we want to see arrows shaped and formed. So we often use the metaphor of like 3 parts, like that. The arrow head, we want to add weight to their knowledge, their understanding, their sharpness and focus. So when they go somewhere, it kind of hits with some impact. But we often talk about like the shaft of the arrow, you can have all the weight, but if it's wonky, it's going to go off. So it's like God's also interested in shaping people's character, their attitudes, their heartbeats.
Yeah.
But then like the flights are like the sensitivity to the Spirit. We want them to understand how to move with the Spirit. And so it's like, you're not here for one thing. You're here to be formed into something holistic that has these different dimensions.
Yeah, that's so good. Because I think so often we can compartmentalize our life. We can think, as long as I have, my spiritual life dialed in, the rest of my life doesn't really matter.
Yeah. And I think even sometimes people have this idea, I prayed the prayer, so now I've got my ticket to heaven when I die.
Totally.
But the idea, no, God is in the business. The gospel is about transformation. Paul talks about we're being transformed into his glory. There's a progressive thing that, Ephesians 4 is an important passage for our church. 4:11, we apostles, prophets, evangelists, pastors, teachers. We're all about that.
Yeah.
But then verse 12, that only exists to equip. That's why we're called equippers.
Right.
But then there's verse 13, which is the end of it, which is all of that ministry for that equipping is that we would become a mature expression. And it has this complicated phrase in English and Greek around till we become the full measure of the mature expression of Christ.
Yeah.
For me, that's like, well, what did Jesus look like? What was his intimacy with God like? Well, until I have that, there's more I could be formed in. What was his supernatural dimension to his life? Well, until I have that, there's more I can be formed in. His countercultural values of the kingdom. Till I have that, there's more I can be formed in. It's not like a ticket to heaven. In fact, we often use the example, we have a national sports team, the All Blacks, who play rugby. And, when they walk through the airport, they wear their All Black shirts because it's like, it's not just we're playing this game 90 minutes a week. We represent this thing. We're ambassadors, if you like.
Right.
And so as Christians, we're representing another kingdom. And it's like, actually, the more that I embody that, the more I'm a true representative. But actually, the better life I'm going to be living.
Right. Yeah, that's so good. And I think, we have this idea in Christian theology that Jesus was fully human and fully God.
Yeah.
And a lot of times we focus on the fully God part, which, he was, but he was also fully human.
Yeah.
So the more that we have Christ formed in us, the more actually we become the fully human beings that God created us to be.
So we have this whole theology of, sin as brokenness, that we're less than what we're made for, and the gospel comes to restore us, and Jesus models that. So it's like, man, I just don't want to put up with brokenness with my ticket to heaven till I die. We believe in a gospel that I can be progressively transformed now.
Yeah.
I'm going to be happier, I'm going to be healthier, I'm going to be whole. It's like, I want to become more like Jesus. Because as you say, paradoxically, I'm going to become more like the person I was always meant to be.
Right.
So I want to press on to be formed.
Yeah, and I love that idea of that it's not just a ticket to heaven, but we're saying yes to becoming apprentices of Jesus or become followers of Jesus, that we're going to walk, we're going to follow him just like the disciples did, to learn to, it's the whole, in the Message verse talks about, come follow me, watch what I do, and learn the unforced rhythms of grace, that grace actually enables us to walk like Jesus did on this earth, like you're talking about.
And
earlier.
sometimes we someone says, I've been a Christian 22 years, and it's like, no, you've been a Christian 1 year that you've done 22 times. It's like, I want to be a different person at the end of this year than I am at the start. I want to grow. I want to be formed.
Yeah.
I want to be a better person at the end of this year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's so good. And and sometimes we get into that, the struggle of grace versus works. And, we have this stigma around, well, if I try to do anything to better myself, that's me, gritting my teeth and trying to do it on my own.
Yeah.
But it's really coming underneath the authority and the lordship of Jesus and being conformed into his image.
Yeah, and it's about being liberated. It's about being set free. But that I think we're going to talk about this a bit later, but I am formed by the habits that shape me.
Yeah, that's so good. Yeah, I mean, we're formed by, and the things we're going to talk about in the series, intentional community, intentional spirituality, the habits that we have around our spirituality, intentional mission.
Yeah.
These are all things that as we do them, we're actually formed even more into the image of Christ. It's not a static thing of checking a box. So I prayed my prayers, or I did my mission this week, but by doing that, we're actually stepping into apprenticing Jesus.
Yeah, and the goal is I'm becoming more like Jesus.
Yeah, it's so good. Well, thank you so much. We're excited for this series. Thank you for being here.
Thanks.